You know the times when we teach something to somebody and then they do something really amazing with their life and then you feel so damn proud of them and yourself? I had a recent experience like that when I spoke to one of my students in NutriBoss. I want to show you that conversation. So finally, Anjali, we are getting back together and doing something with this conversation. I'm very, very glad. And the fact that we are doing it so early in the morning, I think it shows the kind of the kind of
Dedication that we have.
yeah, dedication, and I think the love. I genuinely, I love you. I love your journey. So yes, so I think firstly I would like to introduce you to the people who are watching this video. Anjali is a clinical nutritionist. She is a graduate of SNDT University. She has done her masters from there, and a very brilliant student, in fact. And right now why she is here is because we are going to ask her for the tips and tricks for the freshers, because the people who are right out of the college, they of course struggle to make a good career out of their knowledge and monetize their knowledge. But here we have Anjali, who is easily earning 2x of her peers, and we are going to ask her how she's doing it, what was the journey that she has followed, and what are the steps that she has taken during this journey, so that all the other people who are in the similar niche can be benefited by that. So Anjali, welcome to Renourish with Manisha.
Thank you so much.
Yes. So, tell me, what's happening with life? What are you doing currently?
Okay, so currently after NutriBoss, a lot of things have changed. It took some time for me to evolve, but now I am working as a freelancer. I'm freelancing. I'm
Hmm.
working with a few clients of my own. I'm working with multiple firms, very well-known firms, and I'm exploring what I want to do now. I'm planning to go further for my PhD as well, and I'm very happy with where I am as of now.
That's great. Okay. So, Anjali, if I remember it right, when we met first, you told me that you were not from nutrition background, but you were a science graduate. Like in your bachelor's degree, you studied science, but then it was not in nutrition. Am I right?
Yeah, yes. So I'll tell you. So basically, I come from a biotechnology background. So I had the biology base, but it was not nutrition. So I've studied a little bit of food biotechnology, but not so much that I would relate to the nutrition part as much. So luckily, I was very lucky enough to get an admission from a biotechnology background for my master's. So when I came, so I want to just share this story with you. So when I came in my college, it was first day, and everybody's talking about the exchange list and all of that part. And I was like, "What is happening?" I just didn't understand. And then it took me some time, to understand things, to get a grip on it. And then in my first semester, I kind of failed a subject. So after after that, we used to study all night and try to understand things and everything. Then after that happened, my parents were like, "Are you sure you want to do this and all of that?" But one thing which I felt at that time was that it is so new for me. Even though I come from a biology background, I felt like किसी ने ना मुझे बस पानी के बीच में छोड़ दिया है और मुझे स्विमिंग नहीं आता समुद्र पे छोड़ दिया and I don't know how to swim. And it was just like it was a little difficult for me. And that's when a very close friend of mine, Sarita, she
worker for you. She used to work with your firm in the past.
introduced me to your course. So I think उसी टाइम के आसपास आपने मास्टर क्लास किया था शायद about the NutriBoss. That was the first batch, if you remember. And then she shared a screenshot with me about the contents of the things that you'll be teaching here in the NutriBoss course. And that's when I was like कि नहीं नहीं ये इधर तो कुछ करना जरूरी है. I need to register. I need to see what it is about. And then that's when we met.
And in fact, I didn't know that you were you were having your own internal struggle about it. But one thing which I want to mention here, that the first time we met and we had a conversation, I felt that you had a lot of caliber, because the way you speak about the work that you do, there is a certain level of conviction there. And I could see the fire. And in fact, I don't know if I told you this thing, but I saw a lot of myself in you at that time, because there's a lot of energy, but then we do not know where to channelize that energy. That is one thing. And second thing, I think, the thing that you mentioned, that you were from a science background, biology background, but because your graduation was not in nutrition, you still had some struggles in your masters. Now, what I want to point out here is that there are so many people who call themselves a nutritionist and leave away biology and science. They are not even remotely related to science, and still they call themselves a nutritionist, charge for their services, uh, you know and make good money out of it. And I seriously feel sad about it, because I have seen so many people with a past experience of a nutritionist or a dietitian like that, who does not have any proper qualification, and then their health suffers. So this is one very important point that you have brought up, that it's very important for a nutritionist to understand science. And it's not a surface level subject, it's a very very deep subject. And it requires a lot of understanding of science, biology, and in fact nutrition basics in itself. Like you mentioned, exchange table is something very very basic that we start studying in graduation first year itself.
Yeah.
It's basically the division of our macros and micros, so that
Mm-hmm.
we are not nutrient deficient. So it's important to study these things. And people who are not in a formal college education, they will not study about it. And self study is not enough for subjects like these, because somebody like you,
Right.
who knew biology, who knew how human body works, even you were struggling. And somebody who is nowhere connected, just does not make sense for somebody like that to be charging for becoming a
Their
fake
services.
nutritionist, if I can use that word.
No, but this is a very huge problem. So there are like a lot of people calling themselves nutritionists, but they don't come from the background as you mentioned. And at times, tukke say it works, but a lot of times it doesn't. And then
Hmm.
what happens at the end? People suffer. Or फिर there becomes an image कि नहीं nutritionists don't know anything, rather go to a doctor. There are a lot of these misconceptions that come into people's minds just because of people who don't understand basics, just because people who don't understand nutrition go
Hmm.
out there and give counseling, give diet plans, and charge for it.
Yeah. So Anjali, you tell me one thing. When you came for my masterclass, you were already in the second year of college, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
And by that time, you must have understood the basics. You must have understood the concepts at least a bit.
Hmm.
What was the difference that you felt in the masterclass, and what was the thing which actually provoked you and inspired you, or motivated you to uh, learn something new out of the college in NutriBoss?
Okay, so there are multiple things that I'd state, not just one. So starting from the basics, we were taught multiple diseases and how to treat that and all of that. People from coming from the bachelors of food and nutrition were taught the basics, but still there was something which you call the ultimate body transformation. This is something which yes, we speak about nutrition, but we don't speak about lifestyle in college. We are not
Hmm.
taught that. We are just taught macros. We are taught very deep science, but
Hmm.
when it comes to applying it somewhere, it sometimes gets a little, difficult to relate it directly to something which is a day-to-day life thing, which we are going to counsel for. We
Hmm.
are taught basic counseling, but we are not taught customer relations. We are not taught business. We are taught a few of, when it comes to managing somebody who has two diseases together, who has three diseases together. So we have been given basics, for example, like how would you manage for somebody who has blood pressure, hypertension, and type 2 diabetes. But what happens when that person also has a GI disorder? What happens when that person also has COPD? So how do we deal with that? So these complicated cases are not taught to us. We don't know. So it is completely on us on how we do it. But NutriBoss bridges that gap.
Yeah.
After this, now I know, we know the basics, we know how to manage it, we know how to make customer relations. And the biggest part is that there is no business involved in college. It is science, right? But what happens, it is counseling, yes, but what happens when you don't get the clients? What happens when you have to ask for the money that you deserve for your services? So all of these things are not mentioned in college, and that is the biggest part of the course which I've learned.
I think you mentioned that spot on, because the so when I created NutriBoss, the reason for creating NutriBoss was that one of my friends, she got married really early off in during our college, but then she followed her whole education, so she also did her masters and everything. But because of the family responsibility, she was not able to practice. And once she came to a level where she could actually take out time to practice, she did not know how to monetize that knowledge. And she had been seeing my journey for those 8 9 years, and she asked me to teach her how I
Oh,
got my clients, how I got successful, how I got my international audience, international conferences, and all of those things. And it was a very fleeting conversation where I told her that, okay, fine, you make a group of 3 4 people, let's do it. I'll do it for a group, so that at least we can utilize my time better. And that's when NutriBoss was made. And the idea behind NutriBoss was that, first thing is that there are a lot of differences in the kind of theory that we study and the kind of practical implication that we have on people. So one thing was that I wanted to create that bridge, so that people actually, so students can actually uh, start counseling real life people. Because in real
right.
life, it's not only the hypothyroidism which exists. At times there is
Hmm.
diabetes and hypothyroidism together. And at
Right.
that time we don't know what to do, because the same thing happened to me when I was a fresher, when I was 1 year 2 year into the business. And in fact, I had a big struggle when I was finding my jobs, because everywhere I used to go for interviews, there was always a sales part involved. And I think that's pretty fair, because if you can't bring in money to an organization, why would the organization keep you? And that's where the struggle happened in my head also, because I used to come from a mindset that I'm not a salesperson, I'm not going to do any sales. But then somebody, one of my mentors, he told me that, Manisha, if you can't earn from your education, what is the point of your education? And he said that right now you are sitting in an interview, you're selling yourself. So in anywhere you go, you'll have to sell, whether you sell yourself, your skills, your knowledge, and your services, whatever, but you'll have to do the selling. So it's important to
Absolutely.
understand that, and it's important to do that, because otherwise who's going to pay your bills? Not your degree.
Right.
Hey, I'm pausing my own video to tell you that if you are a nutritionist, then I have something amazing coming up just for you. On 30th of January, I'm conducting a free masterclass in which I'm going to teach you how you can help your clients better, get them results faster, and pay your bills better while you do that. So, if you're interested in that, then I have put the registration link in the description box. Please go and fill that quick form, because that's the only way I will be able to send you all the details about the masterclass. So make sure that you register for the masterclass, and now you can go back and enjoy the video. So, Anjali, you were there in the masterclass, but then what was your experience in the course like? What were the things that you specifically learned during the course, which helped you have 2x revenue than your peers?
Okay, so yes, we learned the scientific part of it. We learned a lot of that. But other than that, I would like to talk about the part two of the, and that part two is one of the major things that we learned in NutriBoss, and which was how how to nurture the client. So you taught us three stages of dealing with the clients, and how to just easily take through that journey and help them, and not help them as in just, so people come to us with a lot of expectations, and it is a life changing journey, right? So from coming as a diseased person to somebody who is healed, who has a lot of new things in their lives, and something that is sustainable, because sustainability is something that we really do work on. So all of these things, so it is very very important to help to nurture the clients throughout the phase. And then it's after the journey is done, what happens then? How do we maintain the relationship with them? So all of these things were we were taught, and we learned it very well, and I have been using it all this while. And also, apart from this, there is one more major part that is, I don't think that anybody has ever taught me that. So uh, it is the main thing is that every time you come out in the world, you come out in the field, you need to present yourself. There is a way to present yourself which shows that you are credible for something, that you have, that you are a professional in a way. And for that we learned how to build our profile, and there were a lot of details taught to us about that. And another important thing that I want to talk about is social media. So, like, as of now, in this time and era, social media is something which is very, very, it is a huge platform, and a lot of people are there. And there are, as we spoke about, non-nutrition nutritionists. So there are a lot of people like that, and it sometimes is a very becomes a very clusterous part of the field, and a lot of people are very confused. So that is one of the reasons why we need educated professionals on social media, presenting themselves, presenting the real things, that when it comes to science and when it comes to medical things. So we really need to do that. So social media was something that we learned. We learned LinkedIn. LinkedIn is something which is very, underrated platform, according to was a very underrated platform according to me. But now
Hmm.
that is also something where, because LinkedIn is a place where people recognize you professionally. So that is also something that we learned, and I have been implementing that. So
I
it
love
it is it
it.
is it was a really helpful course over us.
I love it because I remember this particular conversation where we spoke about
Hmm.
social media, and I was, I was motivating you guys to, have a social media platform and then, create content for that. And one of you said that, in our college, our teachers look down upon the people who are on social media. And then I said that, she's in a way right, because mostly people on social media are talking crap because they are not
Absolutely.
nutritionists. And this is all the more important for us to understand our responsibility to put forth the right information for people, because there is a seed, an ocean of wrong information out there, and it's important for people who know the right thing to come forward and talk about the right things. So yeah, and social media is a very very powerful tool to do that. um, I think I will sum it up on this, that and also one thing which I you know which we discussed is that we can, there is always space for everybody to win. And
Yes.
in fact, this is also one conversation that we had, that if everybody is a good nutritionist, then who will be successful? And the
Yes.
thing is that we need to understand this thing, that this world is so big and there is place for everybody to win. This is something that I learned from Dr. Louise Mary Burke. That's my inspiration as a nutritionist. uh, I love her work. But anyway, so that is one thing which was a learning of mine from her, and I passed it on to you guys. That there is space for everybody to win, and I hope that all the other nutritionists who are looking at this video are going to come for the upcoming masterclass, so that we all can win together, and propagate the right kind of knowledge and help people get fit, heal themselves, and have a healthy life which they deserve. And in that process, nutritionists also have financial stability. That is the agenda, and I think I'm going to wrap the video on that note. So all the people who want to come for the masterclass, I am going to put the registration link in the description, so you can just follow that and then register yourself for the masterclass. And after the masterclass, we are going to start the course. It's going to be a live course, at least this time. And all the people who are not nutritionists and follow my channel for the health content, I hope they will be also inspired to always check the credibility of the person they are paying to for their health management. Because I think it will be clear from this video that nutritionists really, really work very hard, and it's very important to have a in-depth knowledge of science, human body, and it's not easy. Becoming a nutritionist is not easy. It's not something that you do part
It's a
time.
lot of hard work.
It is a lot of hard work. So yeah, on that note, Manisha Mehta signing off with Anjali Mishra. I'll see you next week with another video. Until then, remember, I love you unconditionally. Bye.